What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Gaming with the Broscast, episode 297. My name is Harrison. I'm joined by my brother Nick, as always. Nick, how you doing, buddy?
What is up? I'm doing splendidly on
Yes.
this glorious Monday.
Glorious Monday. Apologize for taking last week off. It wasn't really planned. It was just
One thing led to another.
yeah. And then by the time Wednesday rolled around, I was like, I want to do it, but we might as well just wait because the state of play is coming out. So
Yeah.
So it's all good. But yeah, we got a jam-packed show this week. We're gonna talk about potential Nintendo Direct rumors this week, courteous of Nashweedle, who is alone on the island right now. So we'll see. Apparently, his reputation's on the line for a lot of Nintendo YouTubers. So we'll talk about that here in a little bit. Maybe give our predictions on what we could potentially see there. Obviously, we have Zelda's 40th coming up. I think was it Saturday? Coming up?
That was this week.
Did it already happen?
Is it tomorrow?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure. I should probably know that.
You don't need to know that.
Yeah. And it's not like Nintendo. I don't think Nintendo has once ever shouted out Zelda's anniversary. They usually wait until June, just because it kind of overlaps with Mario's 40th as well. So a little annoying that they do that, but it is what it is. But we'll talk about the Direct rumor. We'll talk about, is Nintendo going to be doomed if they don't have a Direct this week, and all that and more. But Nick, before we dive into what we have been playing, how's your last week or so been?
Week's been good. Stuff with the baby, like watching him learn new things, watching him laugh, watch him smile. I was telling you this before we started, but we moved him into his own room, into the crib over the weekend, and went pretty well. He slept for a few hours straight, and then I think I was up with him from like 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. just holding him in the chair.
Yeah,
because he didn't want to go back into his crib.
Yeah,
and then last night was a little bit better. So hopefully tonight he sleeps through the night in his crib. Yeah. That's the goal, but it's fine. I over the weekend finished up Genealogy while I was sitting with him, just playing on my phone. So it's not the worst thing in the world.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, but it's been good. How has your week been?
It's good. It's finally starting to warm up here in North Carolina. You guys didn't get impacted with nearly as much ice and snow that we did, but it's pretty much, it's all melted at this point. I think there's a couple of probably in some parking lots probably have some ice that's still there. But yeah, finally everything is melting. So that's good. I'm ready. I am ready for the warm weather. I'm ready to get outside and cut grass again, man. I know that's kind of, it's a mundane task, but it's a time where I throw on some music.
That's what life's about.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was a good week. Yeah, didn't really do anything too exciting. Been playing a ton of games though. I'm on a tear right now, a generational tear of.
You really are. Well, let's dive. Where do you want to start?
Tell me about Genealogy, and then we'll jump into Dragon Quest.
Okay, I finished it finally.
Hell yeah!
The in-game time was like 75 hours. But
holy shit, dude,
But I play through the enemy turns on fast forward, so it speeds up 3 times, and then towards the end of the game, I was just keeping it on 3x speed.
Yeah,
during my turns as well, because I had. You're spending like 10 turns moving from one castle to the next, or like one area to the next. So it's a lot of just you're moving 24 units at a time. So it just kind of takes forever. And sorry, baby's crying in the background. But yeah, I finished it up. It was amazing.
You said 75 hours total?
Yeah, that's the in-game time. I think I spent like 35 to 40 hours.
Okay.
In real life. But it's a really long Fire Emblem just because the maps are so expansive, and it's kind of cool. Before each chapter, it'll show you the entire continent that you're on, and then the chapter takes place on that. You're moving throughout that entire continent.
Yeah. And this is the only Fire Emblem that does like maps this big.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but I mean, man, the story's incredible. They have 2 generations of characters in this game, and I just had so much fun. I had so much fun playing through this, even though it's, a pretty dated game. There are
Yeah.
some things that I would change if they did do a remake, but overall, dude, it's one of the best Fire Emblems.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you expect that going in?
No, I didn't because I don't think it started off on a great note with the first couple of chapters, but once you really get into it and start to learn the mechanics and start to, like accept the mechanics just because they're so different from other Fire Emblems, it's once you do accept them and start having fun with it, it's amazing. So I'm hoping for a remake. Hopefully they make some of the maps slightly smaller
Yeah.
and kind of like scale the balance of the character so it's not just geared towards characters with horses because those obviously can travel farther. So like they're just better units throughout the game. So hopefully they can like balance the other non-horse riding characters. But yeah, I'm itching to replay this game in a remake format. So hopefully that
Yeah.
comes within the next few years. But
Sweet.
yeah.
Well, I love to hear it. Yeah, Fire Emblem, it just never has clicked with me. I don't know, other than like the Game Boy Advance ones, like those ones I like a lot, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I'm surprised you didn't click with Engage with how good the gameplay is there.
I think because I think I ended up losing too many characters. Like I didn't restart the battles. I just kept going, and I think
Well, there's the rewind.
oh well, I don't know.
Something.
Either way, I think I restarted. I think I was playing on hard or something like that. I'm not
Mm,
really sure what and then I restarted it. I was having a better time, and then I think I just burned myself out a little bit. So I
yeah.
keep saying I need to go back to it, and one day I will. We'll see.
I think you told me you got to like chapter 10 or 11 or
Something
something.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
yeah,
Oh, well.
that's just one of those franchises that just never for whatever reason I just haven't clicked with it.
That's all right. Well,
Yeah.
I now have 2 games left that I have not played. That being Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn on the Wii,
Yep.
and then Thracia 776, which is a semi sequel to Genealogy,
Okay.
but it's more in line with the traditional Fire Emblem with smaller
Gotcha.
maps.
Okay. Is Radiant Dawn, does it do like any funky motion control stuff?
No,
Wii?
not as far as I'm aware.
Okay.
That would be that'd be pretty stupid if it did. But
Yeah, Nintendo was like, "Hey,
shake
we gotta
to dodge.
yeah, we gotta do some sort of gimmicky."
Some sort of waggle.
Yeah, they forced it upon their developers.
Yeah.
Cool. So two more games, and then are you gonna immediately jump into either one of those right now, or are you gonna take a little bit of a break?
I think I need a break. I think after three Fire Emblems in a row
Yeah.
over the past 2 months, I think I need a break, and then I'll play Fortune's Weave when it comes out,
Yeah.
and then try to do the last 2 at some point.
I mean, we
this
got
year.
Resident Evil coming out next week, so
I know, yeah,
mean,
I can't get into anything too serious yet,
Yeah, yeah. Cool. Well, let me talk about Dragon Quest VII. I'm over 30 hours in now. Dude, I love this game. The demo immediately clicked for me once I started playing it.
Mhm.
And it definitely carried over. And yeah, just I think it's such a cool, like, unique design where you're finding these tablets, which is so funny when you find them because like they're these ancient tablets and they're just like in a random like
Like in a house.
storeroom. It's like, okay, what are you doing? um, but yeah, like every new island you go to, because the whole point of the game is to go back into the past and right the wrongs of the Demon King and like what he did to that particular island, and then you go back into the present, and then the island appears, and then you can go back there and see how the island's changed, if at all. And again, like every single island just has like a unique kind of story going on, whether it's one of them has like rain that turns people into stone, and then another one
Yeah.
has like the humans turn into animals. You need to figure out what's going on.
And the
Um,
automatons.
yeah, the automaton one was awesome. So yeah, there's just a ton of like really unique um story. Like one of them's like a volcano, like Pompeii, where you're trying to say, hey, the volcano is acting up, and no one's like, oh no, the fire deity would never do that to us. And then you go into it's like, no, there's something else down there.
Yeah.
We gotta take care of it. So there's a lot of like really cool stories. And for the most part, like it's very they're very like separated, and then once you start getting towards like maybe the latter half of the game, you start kind of connecting it to the overall story. So I've gotten to the point to this. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but I've gotten to this point in the story where you think it's done, and something happens, and it's not quite so done. So and then you kind of get Metroided a little bit, which is really cool. Um,
Interesting, okay.
yeah. So I'm pretty sure I'm getting. I'd probably say there's a couple more hours of the game, but yeah, the story is excellent. I have pretty much I've turned on like auto battling for like just the regular monsters, but now I'm so powerful that I can just turn it on for like the bosses. And this game is insanely easy. Like I think I've died maybe 4 times, 3 or 4 times at this point. And
Mhm.
that's usually I'll start the battle with auto battle, and then I'll lose, and then I'll switch to manual, and then I'll defeat the boss first try after that. But yeah, game's very easy. That's the only like really critique I guess I can say. But um, yeah, man, this game is awesome.
Yeah, it's really awesome. I think I'm about 10 hours in and just got to the point where you almost get to, change your vocation, and then
Yeah,
something happens, and that was a very cool moment.
yeah,
So, yeah, and then, of course, there's a part there or around there with a particular character that kinda gutted me a little bit. I was like,
yeah.
"Damn."
That was a little brutal because I tried to go back to the past. I'm trying to dance around the spoiler, but yeah, I tried to go back to the past to see if I could see him again, and he's not there. I don't know if this particular character is going to wind up in the story like a little bit later on, nearing towards the end game. But also probably not. I don't necessarily see that character coming back, but it's very cool. Yeah, very
Did you
very
go
cool.
to that same island in the present and go to
Yes.
that spot where you talk to him?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
one there's later on in the game you go back to the present nomads or whatever they call them, and then you kind of continue on that storyline to kind of bring it to towards the end of the game. But yeah, I haven't seen that particular character again, which is yeah,
Mm,
that was a
sad.
little gut wrenching. I was like, man, dang.
It's like, "Oh, man, I'm not gonna say anything else, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, I love this
thank
game.
you.
I didn't expect to be using the auto battling so much, but it's so fun to set it up and then just like watch them go. Like you could literally just like hit play and then just walk away and then come back and you've won.
I
um, but it's really cool with like the vocation stuff. Like you can change your vocation once you get to a certain part in the story. You can then double up onto vocations, so you can kind of like speed run, not speed run, but like streamline like getting all the vocations, and then depending on the tiers of vocations, you can unlock new ones based on the ones that you've already completed. So you'll scroll down the menu and it'll be like a mystery vocation. You're not sure what it is, and then it'll say, oh, you need to complete the warrior and you need to complete the thief vocation and maximize it, and then you'll unlock this new vocation.
Oh, cool,
So
okay.
yeah, so really cool stuff.
Man, I can't wait to play more of this game.
Yeah,
I'm loving it, and I did do a lot of the auto battling with, Dragon Quest III
yeah.
Remake, so I'll need to dip into that here as well, 'cause, yeah, the game is pretty easy.
Yeah, and it's also like one of those things where you can if you go underneath, highlight the character in the menu, you press, I think, the plus button, and it'll, like, auto pick, like, the best items to use for that specific vocation, so it really streamlines the process, and you can kinda just go through this game, not quickly because this game is very long, but, you can really grind out pretty easily in this game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, love it.
Nice. I've played about an hour of Reanimal so
Okay.
far. I think I'm like 30 minutes past the demo portion.
Okay. I'm a little deeper than you. I think I'm maybe 2 to 3 hours. I played pretty decent chunk last night when I picked it up. I tried. I don't know what is going on with like Switch 2 games right now, but when I tried to go pick up Dragon Quest, it wasn't available anywhere. I ended up having to that Friday it came out. I ended up ordering it for. I signed up for like the Target Circle, and I got it delivered to me. So I don't know. It was very
Weird.
weird. I just didn't go that. I knew which Target it was, but I just didn't go to that particular one. But it wasn't there. I tried to go pick up Reanimal physical as well. GameStop didn't have it. Target didn't have it. Nobody had it, and I think it may be due to when I was talking to the GameStop employee. She was like, "Yeah, it's been delayed because of the ice storm, the snowstorm we had. So it was like
Okay.
caught up. So I maybe that's the case. Um, so I ended up just picking up Reanimal digitally. I was like, I don't really necessarily need this because I mean it's just a key card anyways. Um, but yeah, I this game a lot. I think I like it. I definitely like it better than Little Nightmares 3. It definitely feels more of like a sequel to what um they were building with Little Nightmares 2. Like they're eventually when you get down in the game, like there is like some light combat with like a weapon you end up getting. But yeah, this game is, I mean, it's one of those definitely if you enjoy the Little Nightmare series, it's definitely more of the same of that with the areas being a little bit more open, I think. Um yeah, it's just something about getting chased by a monster. It's just fun.
Sorry.
Everything good.
Yeah, I might need to step away.
Okay, you
And,
go step away.
yeah, I'll be right back.
All right. All right. So it is just me. Nick had to go and help out with the baby. He was a little bit fussy. So we will carry on without him and we will hopefully be back next week. But I'm gonna continue to talk about the games I've been playing. Um so yeah, finished up a little bit left with Reanimal, really enjoying that. Did play the Pragmata demo, and I thought the demo was really good. I really like the mechanic of like hacking the enemies and then shooting them to get together weak points. I don't know how long. Hopefully they can. Hopefully the game isn't. I don't need this game to be like a 15 to 20 hour experience. I'm more of like maybe like an 8 to 10 to 12 hour experience because I don't know how long that hacking is going to hold up over time. Um, but as long as they are kind of adding new elements to the game, I think it's gonna be really cool. But yeah, it runs great on the Switch too, which is where I'm gonna play it. And again, the combat is pretty unique. I don't think I've seen a combat like this in the game before. So yeah, definitely looking forward to Pragmata. Gonna be a day one for me when that comes out, and I think in April. Um, and then lastly, what I've been playing is God of War: Sons of Sparta, the big controversial game that got announced and released last week with the excellent state of play, and I'll talk about that here in a moment. Um, I like this game a lot. I've maybe put about 45 minutes into this game. I am enjoying the combat. It's a Metroidvania style game, so those are some of my favorite, favorite games, types of games in video games. And the only thing we were talking about before the show, but only issue I have is like I like the art style. I like the way the game looks in the background. There is a lot of detail going on in the environment. The only issue I have maybe is like the animation of Kratos and Deimos. It looks a little bit wonky, a little bit stiff. But that's the only thing I can really complain about. It's got upgrades. Like I just found like a slingshot you can use to solve puzzles and also attack enemies as well. So I'm sure there'll be other upgrades you find and items you get like in a traditional Metroidvania. Will there be a double jump in the game? I'm not really sure. So we'll see about that. But yeah, so far I'm enjoying it a lot. And it's $30, so it's not like it's a huge it's not like a huge ask. Like I know a lot of people complained about Metroid Dread being 60 and it being a 2D game versus something like Hollow Knight being 15 and Hollow Knight Silk Song being 20. So I get it, but hey, $30 isn't. I don't think it is over asking or anything like that. So yeah, been enjoying that. Definitely going to complete that. I think it's around 15 hours, 20 hours for completion or something like that. So not a long game either. So definitely looking forward to playing that. I want to get that done. I want to get Dragon Quest done. I'll probably get that finished up this week. I'll probably, hopefully, get deep enough into Sons of Sparta because next week is Resident Evil Requiem next Friday. And yeah, it's either next Thursday or I think it comes out the 27th, Friday. So definitely want to have everything out of the way because once Requiem comes out, it's all gonna be time for that game. So I'm very excited. I threw in the question of the week, but with Nick not being here anymore, I was gonna ask, should every game have a demo? And only because when we left that Nintendo Direct partner showcase a couple of weeks ago, there was a bunch of games that had demos. Pragmata had a demo. Obviously we had the Reanimal demo a few weeks ago now. The monsters, what is it called? Monster Hunter. I can't remember the name of the title of that, but that had a demo. I still need to check that out. Obviously, Dragon Quest had a huge demo where you could play like 3 hours of it. So I know demos take time and they take money, but I think because a lot of times they'll pick a chunk out of, like, back in the day they used to take a chunk out of the game, and then have to kind of build that. More often than not now demos are just, here, you play the first 30 minutes and we'll pick a cutoff for you, or hey, here, play 3 to 4 hours of the game and then your progress carries over to the full game, which I think is the most smartest thing that a developer can do when they're doing demos. Because something like Reanimal, where they let you play about 30 minutes of the game, and then once you buy the game, you have to replay it, and it's not a long time. It doesn't really take that long to get to where the demo stopped, but it is nice to be able to skip the tutorial again, which there's not a huge one in Reanimal, but it is nice to kind of skip that section and just dive right in where you left off in the demo. So yes, I don't think every single game needs a demo. Like the God of Wars and the Uncharted's and the Last of Us of the world, where that gameplay is going to be solid. I don't think a demo is needed for that. But like something like Resident Evil games since like 7, 8, Remake 2 and 3 and 4, all those games have been excellent, and I think all those have had a demo. So it still feels a little bit weird that we don't have one for Requiem, but again, I think this game is going to sell so well. So I would prefer every game to have a demo. I don't think every game necessarily needs one. But for a lot of like games where there are new IPs like Pragmata, or even something like Dragon Quest, like I feel like it's pretty important for those games to have demos. All right. So we have, new week, new Nintendo Direct rumor. This one is come courtesy of Nash Weedle. He is a Spanish content creator, I guess. I know he does a podcast with Attack the Blacklog over on Twitter, who has also kind of came up as a new leaker or puts out a lot of rumors out there. I think he's pretty new, but I think Attack the Backlog has been 100% correct. But it hasn't been a ton of stuff. Nash Weedle has been more doing it for a while. Hasn't gotten everything correct, which is fine. But he says there is a general Nintendo Direct coming out this week. And he is on a lone island for this one. Nobody else is corroborating it. No other leaker or content creator or website is corroborating this claim. So a lot of people are saying that if he gets this wrong, that they're not going to cover anymore in leaks and rumors, which I totally understand. I'm always of the mind that I wouldn't prefer to get leaks and rumors. I know speculation for this stuff is fun. Speculating. I think it's more fun to know, like, whenever Nintendo or PlayStation or Xbox announces their events, that's when it's fun to speculate what's going to be there. When everyone's just kind of speculating of when they think the direct is going to happen, I don't always enjoy that conversation online. Because more often than not, excuse me, more often than not, it leads to people being doom and gloom about stuff when it doesn't happen, and then they attack these people, which whether it's deserved or not, like, you're the one, like, you don't have to be putting out rumors, so if you're wrong, like, you have to be open to that criticism. But you have people online that are, are doom and gloom about Nintendo, and this happens, like, every February when we always have a September Direct, and then it's months of silence from Nintendo other than their normal Twitter, what news and videos that they put out on there, an overview trailer here or there on their YouTube channel. Once we get to February, every single year, it is the same exact thing where it's doom and gloom. People are upset because they haven't heard from Nintendo. What does Nintendo have in that year? There's no big first party games coming out. And it's literally the same conversation whenever we're near the time of a general direct. This one, I can say that I can more often, or more so in the past, I can see where a little people are more upset. And I can maybe see their point of view, because as of right now, we don't know much about like a major first party Switch 2 exclusive that's coming out for the Switch 2. Normally we know some things, but like right now, like other than like Fire Emblem, we just really don't know much. The Dustblood didn't show up at the partner direct. Elden Ring didn't show up. Granted, those aren't first party, but Dustbloods is exclusive. So right now we have Mario Tennis Fever just came out. Pokemon Pokopia comes out March 5th next month. In a few weeks. Which that game, I know it's a $70 game, and a lot of people are having issues with that price, but the more I've heard about these preview events, and a lot of people are liking it, and it seems like this game should review pretty well. It's kind of falling in line of something like Viva Pinata for me, which I loved those games back on the 360. It's a damn shame that those games are stuck on the 360 and we haven't had a proper remaster of those games. But it's sounding it's like more of along those lines of what I like out of those style of games. So I will definitely keep my eye up. I don't know if it's going to be a day one. I'm definitely going to look at reviews as I do every single Pokemon game. And then, we know about Pokemon. I mentioned Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave, which we know it's coming out in 2026. We don't have a release date for it. Pokemon Champions, I'm pretty sure that's also coming to the Switch, so not necessarily a Switch 2 exclusive. I'm pretty sure. We know about a Rhythm Heaven game. Tamagotchi Life, we obviously know is coming out in the spring. Not a Switch 2 exclusive either. Dustbloods, we know. We don't know if it's coming out this year or not because we haven't heard much about it. And then Orbitals it's the exclusive game coming out, the co-op puzzle game coming out in summer of this year. We know about Yoshi the Mysterious Book, and that's about it. Indiana Jones, of course, comes out May 12th. But other than that, like we really don't know. And I know it's Zelda's 40th anniversary, and I think people are just the next Mario game. The fact that we went the entire Switch generation with only one mainline Mario game is kind of insane to me. I thought for sure we would at least have two. It's very, very strange. And I don't think we're gonna get Mario Galaxy 3. I feel like if we were gonna get that game, we would have got that years ago. And I know the Galaxy movie comes out in April, but it just wouldn't make a lot of sense. I think it's going to be something completely original that we're kind of used to with Mario. We don't usually get a ton of Mario like sequels, like direct sequels to their games. So yeah, and I've seen like the conversation about Nintendo being doomed. And again, I can see people's points of view, but I was watching Nintendo Prime's live stream last night, and there was a guy in there. I think he's like a normal viewer, but he said if Mario isn't announced at the next General Direct, which either is anywhere between now and June, like we should be getting one. I don't want to wait that long until June when they normally have their next Direct. but he said if there's not a mainline Mario, he is gonna sell his Switch 2, and then when Mario inevitably comes out, he's then gonna rebuy the Switch 2, which that's my problem with a lot of these Nintendo I mean, not fanboys, but just Nintendo consumers in general is like they always think to the extreme and they never have a level head about anything. Nintendo still has like a lot of games coming out that we know about right now that could coast them, into this, until their next big, you know, first party game, whether that's the new Zelda, the new Mario. They have like Pokemon. Pokopia is gonna sell like gangbusters. It is going to sell a ton of copies. And we still have Pokemon Day as well next week, so we'll get something. We'll get Gen 10 announced. We'll get some sort of like remake, whether it's the rumored Leaf Green and Fire Red, whether it's one of those or something like that. We'll get some sort of Pokemon remake like we usually do. So the Switch 2 is just going to be fine. It's not doomed. I think people just need to have a level head about some of this stuff. And at the end of the day, it's just video games, like, right? Just don't let it ruin your week. We'll get a general direct, whether it's this week or we probably won't get it the following week because of the Pokemon presentation, but we'll get one eventually, and we'll get all those things that we've always wanted. Right? They're not going to ignore the 40th anniversary of Zelda. We're still going to get that, whether it's weak or not, whether they go all out, who knows? I hope they do a little bit more than they did for Mario, in my opinion. But we'll still get all that stuff. It's gonna be just fine. Um, so we'll move on from that. Predictions. I I think Mario I think Mario will get announced. I don't know if Zelda will, if we're talking this week with the 40th coming up on Saturday. They may mention Zelda. We may get some like, but they probably, because like Mario anniversary and Zelda, they kind of their marketing for their Mario anniversary is always kinds of it bleeds over into Zelda's anniversary. Nintendo never tweets out on Zelda's anniversary, saying happy anniversary. They always wait a little bit later in the year to celebrate Zelda's 40th. Because again, it's gonna, I know this specific day is the day, but it's the whole year, right? It's the whole year is the 40th. So we got a whole year to celebrate Zelda. So they don't do anything on the actual day or this week if there is a direct. We'll get something. Who knows what it's going to be? I'm hoping that it's Ocarina of Time remake. That's what I want personally. And then throw in the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess game from the Wii U. Bring that over as like a cherry on top. But Ocarina of Time remake is what I want and what is being rumored right now, for sure. As far as other predictions go, I mean, I'm just not sure. I think Mario will be there for sure, and I think that will come out this year. I don't think we get a tease for any sort of Smash Brothers new ones. Like we could get a Switch 2 edition of Ultimate. I think that could be really cool. And then maybe they give us another 3 or 4 characters or something like that. And then that'll be $80 if you want to get the Ultimate Switch 2 edition. Then they'll upcharge you 20 or something for the new characters. Maybe even throw in some new maps and stuff like that. I think that could be really cool. Other than that, like, we just gotta wait and see. Like, I always like to be surprised. And something like the state of play. Like they had like Sons of Sparta was like, I know it was kind of rumored, the 2D God of War game has been rumored for a while, but it was still cool to get that announcement. So hopefully they do something like that. It's also Metroid's 40th, I believe, or 35th this year. I would love to see something Metroid. We probably won't, but maybe like a Dread Switch 2 edition, or add some DLC to Dread. I think that could be really cool. All right, in a story that I don't think anyone saw that didn't predict this, but Wildlight Entertainment lays off most of their staff after Highguard has not been successful. And I made a video on my YouTube channel about this. and whether or not Jeff Keighley in the Game Awards hurt Highguard's success or potential success. I don't think he caused it to fail. Now it being the final game announced for the Game Awards, and like there's so many high expectations for the final game, and it being a free to play hero shooter live service game, I think that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way and, and left a bad taste in people's mouth for the Game Awards. And obviously that like hatred carried over into High Guard, and I'm sure a lot because it was free to play. A lot of people downloaded on Steam, played maybe 5 minutes, and then left a bad review. That's what just people are going to do. They're going to review bomb. You know, the review process for consumers is not good. I don't think for any website or whatever the case is. There's always going to be review bombers that cause the game to have lower reviews. It's just I don't know. It's just something you can't. I don't know the answer to it. But at the end of the day, if High Guard was a unique new experience that was fun, and I'm not saying people can't have fun with High Guard. There's obviously a core dedicated people, about 1,500 that are been playing it. That's usually like the concurrents right now that have been playing the game for a few weeks now. If it was truly a great game, I think the 97,000 people that played the game day one, more people would have stayed, and the game would have been more successful. I just don't think there's anything really unique with High Guard. Like the horse riding mechanic, I think is cool and a little bit different. But once you like boarding up like your base it's just so generic. You're not really doing anything. You're just pressing X or whatever it is and making your walls a little bit stronger. And then you run out into the world, and it's this giant map with nobody there because everybody's just looting. There's no PvE going on, so there's enemies that you can AI that you can kill to get weapons and stuff like that. Like it's you loot up and then you do the fighting. Like I don't know. If you take out the beginning stuff and just have like the fighting of getting the sword and then attacking the base, like maybe cut out that beginning, or maybe just add enemies into the map. I don't know. Make the map smaller, add more players, which I think they did. So it sounds like they're taking in the criticism, but I know they have this plan of content, the roadmap that they're going to do with their updates, but I don't see this game lasting more than a few months. With them already laying off so many people with the studio. Yeah, it's a shame, but I just think there's just too many free to play games out there. Too many free to play live servicey games that don't do anything new. So again, I don't think Jeff caused the game to be. I think more eyes got got onto this game than if they were to just shadow drop it out of nowhere. But yeah, it's a shame, and it sucks that more people are getting laid off in 2026. State of play, we had that last week. The state of play, this was probably one of the best presentations I've seen in a very long time, probably since like that one Xbox presentation a couple years ago where they announced like Gears of War E-Day and showed off Fable again and some other stuff. But this state of play was excellent. I think there was something for someone in this state of play. So we'll talk about big. Obviously, we just talked about God of War, and that's also my issue is like people were so mad about God of War getting announced and shadow dropped that they like the fanboys came out of the woodworks for this one, and they're so mad that they're not getting their third person over the shoulder God of War game, and they literally announced one with God of War trilogy remake. Like we're getting the whole trilogy remade, and I assume that the gameplay is going to be like God of War 2018 and Ragnarok. I don't see them just doing like a remastered or version of those three games. Like they kind of already did that, especially I think with 3 they did that, like a remaster for PS4 or PS5, maybe I can't remember which one. But but this is a remake specifically. So I feel like it's going to be it's going to be like a pretty cool experience. So so it's not like we've waited 20 years for God of War and then they just dropped this 2D God of War game. Like God of War Ragnarok came out in 2022. They also announced the trilogy. We'll probably get something God of War, the next God of War game with Kratos and Atreus or whatever that game is, and in that storyline. But I think it's cool. I think it's cool. I think people just need to chill out. It's not that serious. And for the people that are saying, "Oh, it's just a crummy 2D game," like play a 2D game. Go play this game. It's cool. It's cool that studios are taking these risks. Like that's my biggest complaint with like Halo. Like you don't always have to do a first person Halo game. You could do spinoffs and do like create really unique experiences within the Halo universe. Stuff like Halo Wars. I thought was really cool. I'm gonna go briefly through this list because there was a lot of stuff that was announced. But the new Castlevania Belmont's Curse game looks incredible. That game looks awesome. Kenna, the Scars of Casmora got announced. I never played the first Kenna. I know it's like kind of more like a cult classic at this point, I think. But this one looks particularly great. So I may have to go back and play Bridge of Spirits, and then come back to this one. Saber Interactive, they announced their John Wick game. We didn't get a ton of gameplay, but it looks great. Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 2, Metal Gear Solid 4, and Peace Walker, and Metal Gear Solid Ghost Babel, which I'm not sure what Ghost Babel is, but it is nice to see Metal Gear Solid 4 finally being released from the PS3. I am so surprised there wasn't a remaster at this point. As much as PlayStation loves remastering their remasters, it's hard. It's crazy that we never. And I know it's Konami, so it's not necessarily PlayStation's control, but it's crazy that the game's been stuck on the PS3 ever since. So, Ghost of Yotei Legends DLC coming to Ghost of Yotei. It's the multiplayer legend stuff that was with Tsushima, so that's really cool that that's coming. It seems like it's a little bit different than the original Legends, so they're doing a little bit more with the 4 characters that you can play as. We got another look at Resident Evil Requiem. Again showing off Leon infected. Does Leon die in this game? I don't know. I hope not. But man, that would be crazy. This is the last Leon game that we get. I think a lot of people thought we were going to get a demo, myself included, and we didn't. So unless they drop one this week, this will be the first time in a while that Resident Evil has not had a demo for their game. Saros, we got another look at gameplay of that. I didn't play the original. Sorry, I didn't play Returnal. This one looks really cool. I may be picking this one up. I'm not sure. Marathon got a new trailer, kind of like a more like gloomy trailer. I thought this trailer worked out. I thought it worked. I was more excited. I'm not super excited for Marathon. I will try out the Server Slam when that comes out next week. But yeah, I enjoyed that trailer a lot. We got to look at Control Resonant. We got a ton of gameplay. Game just looks absolutely incredible. And yeah, I'm not gonna go over everything else, but there's a lot of good stuff. Like I said, this is one of the best presentations from a video game company that I've seen in a very, very long time. So more of that. Nintendo, Xbox, copy that. Like that was excellent. We had a Nintendo Direct partner showcase a couple weeks ago. We didn't talk about it last week because we didn't do the show. I thought it was a good partner showcase. We got a ton of demos. Excited about Pragmata. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I know stuff like the Dustbloods and Elder Ring wasn't there, which people were bummed out. But it's a partner showcase. I thought it was one of the better ones we've had in a while. And then last up, I didn't write down where this report came from. Actually, you know what? Let me pull up. I think. Oh, here we go. This is from IGN. But Sony is reportedly considering pushing back the PS6 release to 2028 or even 2029. amid this the AI fueled chip crisis that's going on right now. So I'll just read like kind of the brief. So the AI fueled chip crisis has reportedly upended Sony and Nintendo's console plans and may cause a delay to the release of the PlayStation 6 and a price rise for the Switch 2. Memory is in high demand because companies like Nvidia and Google require so much of it in their AI chips, with the recent CNBC report pointing out that these companies are the first ones in line for the components. This will likely push up brand prices and have a knock-on impact on both console retail prices and availability. I think, like, I know this is not what people want to hear, with these chips and, you know, potentially the Nintendo Switch 2 going up. So if you don't have a Switch 2, I would recommend just going out and getting one right now. You know, if you have the extra funds, because I do feel like that is going to go up. Nintendo may they may cut out the 450 version and just have the 500, you know, Mario Kart bundle or some sort of bundle. Have they dropped the Mario Kart bundle yet? I'm not sure if they have or not. Or just every new game that comes out, they'll just include a bundle. Because I know they don't want their console to be super expensive. They have always been more of the budget friendly companies as far as their consoles itself go. Now you could talk about their games in another conversation. So who knows what that means? Will they increase the price of the Switch 2? Will they increase some other stuff in that ecosystem? Like, will their games be more expensive to kind of counteract the price increase? Instead of doing the price increase, will they have $80 video games for their stuff instead? Mario Kart World, will that go up to 90? We're just in such a strange landscape right now in gaming where, you know, again, you know, current generation of Xbox and PlayStation, by now we would have had not one, maybe even two price cuts at this point in time, and we've had price increases. So it's just a very strange landscape in gaming right now, and it's pretty frustrating to think about. But you know, as these companies, they want to delve deeper into AI. This is kind of what us as the consumers get to pay for. So, you know, here we go. And to be fair, like, I don't really care about the PlayStation getting delayed. I've said it this entire generation. It barely feels like we've gotten started. Um, I don't know if UE5 has just caused developers to not be able to optimize their games, or if there's been issues with that specific engine and getting games out quicker. But you know, as games have more more fidelity and stuff like that, like, it just takes longer. You know, it just takes. You know, we haven't had a new Naughty Dog game, right, since the PS5 launched. So we could potentially go the entire generation without. I know we had The Last of Us Part 2 and Part 1 and 2 remastered, but again, a brand new Naughty Dog experience. You know, if because Intergalactic, I mean, like, is that going to be a PS5 game, or is it going to be a PS6 game? The God of War remake trilogy, that's definitely going to be a PS6 game. Like, they said it's in very early development. So yeah, it's, again, like I said, the generation barely feels like it's been getting started, especially on the PlayStation. Like, Xbox, they've had some games come out here in the last couple of years, which has been good. And obviously we have stuff like Gears, Fable, Forza Horizon coming out this year. Well, not Gears, we don't know, and Fable could get pushed. We just don't know either. But PlayStation, like, they just have not had a ton of PS5 exclusives. God of War was cross-gen. Spider-Man 2, that was a PS5 exclusive, and that was a great game. Ghost of Yotai, Death Stranding 2. What else, right? Like, Helldivers was a fun experience, but again, like, I just felt like we haven't got a ton from PlayStation first party stuff. So I'm okay with it being delayed another couple of years versus coming out next year. Like, I am totally on board with that. So yeah, we'll definitely see. All right. Well, I think that is going to wrap up the show. Appreciate everyone watching and tuning in live and listen to the audio version. If you can review us on your favorite podcasting platform of choice, that would be greatly appreciated. And yeah, we always love engagement with the show, so that's always appreciated. So we'll be back next week talking about more games. Or is there? I don't think there's anything new coming out this week. We've had a lot of stuff come out, so I'm sure Nick will give his thoughts on Reanimal and Pragmata and getting God of War and all that stuff next week, and more thoughts on Dragon Quest VII as he dives deeper into that. So yeah, we'll be back next week, and we'll see you then.